All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to zoom in on just 5 short verses from the Gospel of Matthew. They describe a really calculated, brutal act of mockery against Jesus. We're going to break this scene down verse by verse to really get a handle on all the layers of meaning and the history behind it. So, let's set the scene. To get our bearings, Jesus has just been condemned by the Roman governor, Pontius Pilate. He's already been scourged, which was a horrific whipping, and the final decision has been made. He's going to be crucified. But before they lead him away to the cross, the soldiers pull him inside the governor's headquarters for one last twisted act of humiliation. We'll kick things off with Matthew chapter 27, verse 27. The location is the common hall, and that right there tells you this isn't some back alley beating. No, this is a public display of Roman power, and it's being carried out by the governor's own soldiers. Now, when the text says common hall, it's talking about the praetorium. This was the governor's headquarters in Jerusalem. I mean, the absolute heart of Roman authority in the whole region. And look at the scale of this. They gather the whole band. This isn't just a few rogue guards. You know, the whole band isn't just a figure of speech. It's referring to a Roman cohort, a military unit that could have up to 600 soldiers. So picture that, a massive group of armed men surrounding a single beaten-down prisoner. This wasn't for security, right? This was designed to make him feel completely isolated and to maximize the humiliation. So in verse 28, the mockery gets really specific. The soldiers basically stage a fake coronation. It's this cruel parody of kingship, and they use 3 very common items to do it: a robe, a crown, and a reed. The first thing they do, right here in verse 28, is they strip him, and then they throw a scarlet robe on him. And believe me, that garment was not a random choice. Its color, its type, it was all part of the insult. Okay, so the color is everything here. Scarlet was basically a cheap knockoff of the imperial purple that was reserved only for Roman royalty. So by draping him in what was probably just a common soldier's cloak, they were making a very pointed visual joke. Here's your pathetic, poor man's king, already marked for death. And the mockery just keeps building. I mean, every king needs a crown and a scepter, doesn't he? So for Jesus, the soldiers weave together a crown from some thorny branches. And for his royal scepter, they just hand him a flimsy reed, like a piece of marsh grass. The contrast here is it's stark. A true king gets a crown of gold. They give him a crown of thorns designed to inflict pain. A true king holds a powerful royal scepter. They give him a fragile little reed, a symbol of complete weakness. Every single symbol of royalty is twisted, inverted, and turned into an instrument of suffering and ridicule. All right, so up until now, the humiliation has been about props and symbols, but now it shifts. Their cruel little theater turns into a direct physical assault, and it escalates step by step. This part is just dripping with sarcasm. They actually perform an act of worship. They get down and bow the knee, but it's the ultimate form of disrespect. And those words, "Hail, King of the Jews," well, that's a direct parody of the Roman salute, "Hail Caesar." It's just a deeply cynical, contemptuous performance. And then, as verse 30 shows us, that mock worship just gives way to pure violence. They spit on him, which was an act of extreme contempt in that culture. Then they snatch the reed, the symbol of his fake kingship, and they use it to beat him on the head, driving the thorns of his crown even deeper. You can see the progression here. It's deliberate and it escalates fast. It moves from that sarcastic reverence to profound disrespect, and finally, they literally weaponize the symbols of the mockery against him. Each act is just designed to intensify the humiliation. And then, just as quickly as it all started, the cruel game is over. They strip off the mock royal clothes, they put his own garments back on him, and the grim reality sets in. The play is finished, now it's time for the execution. The purpose of the mockery was served, and they lead him away to be crucified. So you have to wonder, was this just a bunch of bored, sadistic soldiers having some fun? Well, according to Matthew's gospel, the answer is no. Every single detail of this humiliation, from the spitting to the blows, was understood to be part of something much bigger. For instance, the prophet Isaiah, writing centuries earlier, predicted that God's servant would give his back to the smiters and would not hide his face from shame and spitting. For the early Christians reading this, the actions of these Roman soldiers weren't random at all. They were a direct and, frankly, stunning fulfillment of that prophecy.
And that's really the crucial takeaway here. In Matthew's account, this whole scene of profound mockery isn't a sign of Jesus' failure. It's the exact opposite. Paradoxically, it's the ultimate confirmation of his kingship. Every insult, every blow just served as another piece of a prophetic puzzle falling into place, revealing him to be the very suffering Messiah the scriptures had been pointing to all along.